Hello, it is Sunday and it is time for my mental health vlog. So, last Sunday I mentioned that the divorce was close. And I knew, in fact, that it was actually happening the next Monday morning. But I had not been able to communicate that with my ex. And since he had defaulted on the divorce paperwork, I just didn't want to give an opportunity for, not that he could, but I didn't want to give an opportunity for drama. So I just kind of wanted to leave that as it was. So as of Monday morning, about 9 a.m., I am officially divorced. So it's a freeing feeling. Honestly, that day I had, if you can name a feeling, I had it. But it was just one of those days where you knew you had to feel the feelings and just kind of move forward. Of course, the biggest feeling that I had was just the relief of it just being done. I mean, we had been separated for exactly 4 years, and the fact that it happened on the date that the relationship actually ended 4 years ago was an interesting coincidence. I think I called it serendipity, but I'm not sure that's the right word. It's just an interesting coincidence. One of the biggest things that came along with that was the fear of telling my ex that it was just done. And because I didn't communicate much with him, I gave him the information that he needed to know, and I let the system take care of the rest. And I didn't know how he was going to react. I know the potential of ways he could react based on the time that I had with him, because we were together for 17, 18 years, which is part of the fear I had, which actually explains a lot about our relationship. But I told him later that day, I was talking to my group, my support group, about my fear of how he was going to react, and they, as they tend to always do, help me put things in a different perspective. And one of the people in my group, who I just have a ridiculous amount of respect and love for, said, "This seems like a serenity prayer moment. You can't control how he is going to act. All you can do is give him the information and let him do what he's going to do. That is not something that you can control. That is not something that you can change based on how you give the information." And that was refreshing to hear, because it didn't make the fear wane at all, but it did help me realize that no matter how much dancing around I do, or trying to find a very specific way to relay some information to try and control the outcome, that's not a power I have. I can't control how someone's going to react to the news, but I can control how the fact that I'm being very factual with everything. So I was, and I've been. So I sent him a message asking him if he had a minute, and I said this information about the divorce, and he said yeah. So I called him and I told him what had happened, and because he had not done certain things, there were other things that we had discussed me taking care of, but without his involvement on one part, I was unable to do certain things for him on his behalf. So I did have to let him know, like the name change. Like, I was able to get my name changed in the divorce decree, because he was absent from participation. I couldn't change his name for him. So he will have to go back and do that on his own. I will say, so anyway, I told him the information, and he was like, "Okay, thanks for letting me know." I still feel like there's another shoe to drop, but I can't control it, so I just have to let it be. When I saw him on Friday picking up my son and getting his suitcase, because we have my son all week this week, there was not even a single mention of it. So maybe he is honestly, maybe he's just feeling the exact same thing that I am. Maybe he's just like, it's done. Actually, maybe he's like, oh, it's done. I didn't have to do a damn thing or hire a lawyer. But it definitely cost me a lot of money that I didn't really have. But I wish him no ill will. Never have, never will. But I'm so excited to have my last name back. I've been using my last name at work. I've been using my last name, on the surface, but my IDs still have my hyphenated last name, and my passport still has my hyphenated last name, and anything that has to do with, legal documents has to, of course, has to have my hyphenated last name. But now, I'm waiting on one piece of paper back from my lawyer. I can start getting all of that back. And that really is a great feeling. Because let me tell you, having a hyphen in your last name, at least for the last 20 years, is a pain in the ass, because technology has not all caught up. You've got some programs that are like, when you're trying to register for things, oh, I'm sorry, no special characters. So you leave out the character, you put in a space. Oh, I'm sorry, no spaces. So then you merge your two names together. And then when you go to sign back in or pull something up, you're like, which way did I have to format my last name to fit your parameter? Also, flying was a bitch, because every airline has a different format. And they're like, well, your name must match the ticket exactly how it does on your driver's license. Well, then your system needs an update. So I will never be changing I do not plan on changing my last name again. My fiance and I have already had this talk, and if I do, it will not have a hyphen or any kind of special character in it, because fuck that. My son still has his hyphenated last name, and hopefully by the time he's registering for things and signing up for things on his own, that will technology will have caught up. Because hyphenated last names are actually ridiculously common now. I do wonder how my son's going to handle that as an adult, if he'll keep it or if he'll change it. I don't know. He made some comment today about changing his name to something ridiculously stupid. Not being serious. He's a lot of hypothetical talk. Evidently, kids his age, that's all they do. And I told him, I said, Daddy and I gave you your last name because it's a part of each of us. I said, I won't lie to you, I would be sad if you changed your last name. But, because we already have a conversation about that. I said, but regardless, you are my child, and I will always love you as my child, regardless of whatever you want to be called. And I think that's something that all parents should take away, especially those that have transgender children. And my son is not transgender, not that that would be an issue at all, but I was watching a television show where someone had it was a spin-off of The Boys on Amazon Prime, so there's like kind of superpower type things, and there's one character ironically named Jordan Lee. I will not get used to that, by the way. And they can turn from male to female. That's their power. I think they have super strength too, I don't know. And it was parents' night, and the dad was so proud of his son, but if the son changed to a girl, he was ashamed. And I'm like, wow, you're a dick parent. So don't be a dick parent. Simple as that. Love your kid, regardless. Love your kid. I was just gonna say something, I don't remember what it was. That happens a lot when you get old. So anyway, I let my ex know. I did get my name changed the way I wanted it to in the divorce documentation, so that was very exciting. My middle name was, my dead middle name was tied to my birth father, which y'all know I want absolutely nothing to do with. The only reason I'm keeping the lead part of my last name is because of my mother, my sister, and my son. But my middle name was my father's middle name and his father's middle name. I don't like either one of them. Fuck it. So I changed my name to be my mother's father's name. So same initial, but I liked him a lot better. He was an amazing person. So now I'm representing him twice in my name, my full name. And I'm okay with that, because damn, he was an amazing person. I often wonder if he was around today, how he would have grown and changed with the times, being what I feel. I felt like he was a progressive person. I guess we never really know what our grandparents feel about the sort of things that just aren't talked about, but I feel like he was a really progressive person, and I feel like he would love my son, and I would like to think that he would be happy for me, but he still gives me good parking spaces, so he must like me a little bit. My sister hates that. My mom got the tiny bladder, and my mom and my sister both got the tiny bladder, and my mom and I both got the good parking. So Grandpa passed those down to us, and I get the great parking, like, you know, front row at Walmart on a Black Friday morning or something. My ex asked about my sex life, and I'm pretty open and honest, and I don't mind sharing some information. But he said, I just saw something online and I wanted to know, and he asked a specific question, and by default, I feel like I need an answer, so I answered him. And the entire time I'm thinking, I don't really want to discuss my sex life with my fiance, with my ex. That was just weird. I did find out he's not as wholesome as he would like me to believe he is, which was interesting. Speaking of my fiance, we did have a little bit of a spat yesterday, and it was about my son, and things that I wanted to start doing after the divorce. And there was a lot of things about my son back to back, and I took it as high pressure, almost like attacking, like, well, you need to do this now, you need to do this now, you need to do this now. And I know that that wasn't the way he intended it, but that was absolutely the way that I felt it. And he tried to ask me a question, and I cut him off, which I do evidently tend to do, because I felt like I knew what he was going to ask. And any of the questions he could have asked, the answer would have been the same: I don't know. And he pushed. And then he said I was being argumentative when I kept saying I don't know. So when he called me argumentative, I was just like, okay. I was done. And we didn't speak again. Let's see, that was on the way home from the gym in the morning. We came home. We did stuff around the house separately. We went to dinner with his parents so my son could have a sleepover with them last night, which they love, he loves, it's always great. And dinner was very tense, and finally on the way home from dinner, I'm like, I don't like being like this. I do not want to spend the rest of my night like this, because we had plans to go out yesterday evening, and I'm like, I'm not going out with us feeling like this. So we finally talked it out. And I can tell you that's probably one of 2 fights we've had, or 2 spats we've had. So we're averaging one every 2 years, or one every 1.7, I'm not doing math, 1.75 years, something like that. So that's not bad. But we both realize that we don't like that feeling. We don't like the tension. And we have always been so open in communication. When I talked about last week, communication being so important, we've always been so open with communication. I was just like, look, this doesn't feel right. This isn't right. Let's talk about it. And we did. And I realized that we were escalating each other in the conversation. He felt I was shutting him down, and I felt he was attacking me. So neither one of those were really accurate, but that was our perception at the time. And as the old saying goes, perception is reality. So communication is so fucking important, even when you don't want to. because no matter how much you want someone else to know what's in your mind, they are not mind readers. You can't be upset for someone that you don't set expectations for, and you can't be upset with someone if you're not letting them know what was done that made you feel a certain way or allowed you to feel a certain way. And I hate the word made me feel, because no one makes you feel anything, but it allows you to feel a certain way. So those are my takeaways from the week. My therapy appointment on Wednesday got canceled. My therapist's daughter is sick, so that got moved to this Wednesday. She was super, super thankful. And I'm like, it happens, not a problem. So it makes me think that other people are just dicks. Again, don't be a dick. That's a good takeaway for this week. Just don't be a dick. Check on your friends, make sure they're doing okay. We did end up going out with some last night for one of my friends' birthdays, and it was a lot of fun. It was a very crowded event, but it was a lot of fun. Check on your family, make sure they're doing okay. My sister is continuing to improve with her cane. I'm really proud on some of the things that she and my mom are doing right now, and I won't go into too much detail, but I'm very proud of them right now. And check on yourself, make sure you're doing okay. What do you need? What are you missing? What are you feeling? What are you holding on to that someone said or did that's making you feel crappy that they have forgotten about? You have two ways to handle it. You can let it go, or you can address it and deal with it and communicate about it. Because you might find out that what you're feeling was not someone else's intention. People are inherently not dicks, I'd like to think. In the back of my mind, I'm laughing because, yeah, most humans are dicks. So, again, this week's takeaway, just don't be a dick. All right, guys, I love you, and I will see you next week. And remember, just don't be a dick. Bye.